All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the few of you that are joining me today. And if you're watching this after the fact, I'm glad you made some time to go over some important information, if I can say so myself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my presentation and we'll get started. Anyone who is on the call, if you would like to ask any questions along the way, please feel free to chime in. Please feel free to put your video on. Like, I want to help as much as I can. So the more interactive, the better. But I at least put some stuff together that we can go over for our nutrition week. Okay. Can anyone give me a thumbs up if you can see my presentation? Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Janice. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so today, understanding sort of the nutrition hierarchy is kind of the take that I went on today, and two crucial components of it, which we'll go over, caloric intake and macronutrients. So hopefully a little bit of a guide for you guys and managing your nutrition and making your nutrition intake effective. So when we look at nutrition, I just kind of wanted to put a little bit of a, not a definition on here, but just a reminder of what eating well sort of encompasses and why it's important. So eating well is crucial for optimal body function as it provides us with all of the nutrients that we need. It boosts our energy, brain function, immune strength, and muscle recovery. So many different things that nutrition encompasses. I know I was talking with Kathleen about recovery week, and she's like, "Oh, like, are we talking about, recovery foods?" And it just, reiterated or reminded me that not only is nutrition, important for, the essential nutrients that boost energy, but so many different factors. So, and not just being the next one on here, which is proper weight management. Okay, which obviously we need to help us lower the risk of our chronic diseases and helps us improve our lifespan, longevity, and just influencing our life in a positive manner, and hopefully overall improving our quality of life. So that's why we like to talk about it a lot. Nutrition encompasses so many different factors amongst our body and mind and overall life. So today's goal. So my goal today is I would like you to walk away from what we chat about today with a basic idea. And I know some of you guys on the call are pretty advanced in this area. But if you don't know, I'd like you to walk away with a basic starting point as to where you should be for your caloric intake and kind of what that looks like in terms of our overall macronutrients. And kind of the last thing is, what are the next steps that you should take based on the lovely tracking that I'm forcing you guys to do this week. Why have I chosen these sort of 3 takeaways today? I'll tell you why. So this is one of my favorite hierarchies, and it does go along, with the hierarchy of needs, but sort of swung to the nutrition side. So I wanted to review this because I feel like a lot of times people get so hung up on, oh, what type of, diet should I be on? Or when should I eat this? Or how should I eat this? And tell me exactly when I need to be doing all of these particular meals, or what, I need to make sure I'm having the right supplements and taking the right things. And yes, these are all important in the grand scheme of things. But when we look at this hierarchy, we I want you to take away from this is that the most important things obviously are on the bottom. They can make the biggest impact on your life, whether it be from a body composition perspective. Calories would be the most important in terms of achieving where you want to be, and then along with macronutrients from an optimal life longevity standpoint, sort of hitting your energy balance and caloric intake, calorie balance is super important so that we are in a good state where our body composition is in a good place where we're decreasing the risk of cardiovascular disease and all of the other factors that come along with obesity and being overweight. And then if we look at from a performance side of things, calories are super important. So that, we're making sure that we're not in a low energy availability state and causing some other issues. So whether you're here for performance, optimal health, or body composition, I feel like this nutrition hierarchy is spot on. So we want to make sure that when we're looking at making nutritional changes, do we have our caloric intake on point? Is our energy balance set? Do we know where we're supposed to be? Once we kind of know that, we can maneuver around the macronutrients, and then we want to make sure we're getting in all of the micronutrients that our body needs. Then we can talk about meal timing, and then we have on top there supplements. So it's kind of like, okay, what's the best bang, for our buck? We start at the bottom, and then we build up. And overall, let's say on the bottom of that, which I don't really have here, but on the bottom of that triangle is consistency. So the Fit Life, and this is the Fit Life Challenge, so it's not just the body fat challenge. How consistent are you, day in, day out, year after year on all of these things? And that's going to give you the best results for the long term and sort of living that fit life. So I want to dig in today because, like I said, today's goal, let's look at the two biggest chunks here. We will talk slightly about the other ones. Let's talk about the two biggest chunks so that I can give you the best tools to be, basically best bang for a buck, as I said, to get you the best results. Okay, so caloric intake. Basically, caloric intake, pretty simple. Okay, simple but not simple. Caloric intake refers to the total number of calories that you put into your body, beverages, food, etc. in a typical day. Sometimes we calculate it by week as well. So this represents the energy that your body receives, okay, to fuel all of the things that we do. And like I mentioned before, balancing this caloric intake with all of the things that we do in a day is essential for maintaining a healthy weight and overall well-being, which we chatted about. So the question is, how do we calculate this? So there are lots of equations, which we'll get to as we go through this presentation. But I just wanted to mention that sometimes figuring this out can be a little bit complicated. Um, this can be a little complicated. So I want to kind of look at your total daily energy expenditure. So what does this look like across every single day? So there's a few things that come into play here, and caloric intake and your total daily energy expenditure. Why I say sometimes it can be complicated because it can vary a lot from person to person. It can based on your gender assigned at birth, your age, your height, your body composition, uh, overall lifestyle, and even just as simple as how much sounds crazy, but how much you fidget in the day. If you are a huge fidgeter, uh, I might talk about it a little bit in one of the columns. You might have a bigger TDEE. So many different things that we can look at in terms of your overall daily energy expenditure. So what encompasses that TDEE? Let's take a look. So BMR, we talk about this one a lot. We probably all know what this one means, but basically, this is the amount that your body uses to do all of your essential functions. So even just, breathing, sleeping, just to be a human, okay, this is what your BMR is, okay? And this is 70% of our total daily energy expenditure. So that's a huge amount. Lean muscle mass increases this. So that's why sometimes we talk about adding on, muscle. It helps us maintain our weight better because this is why, because it increases that BMR, which accounts for 70% of our total daily energy expenditure. So big key component of our TDEE. Then we also have part of our TDEE, we have our NEAT. This is our non-exercise activity thermogenesis, okay? So this is only 15% of TDEE. So like I said, BMR is sort of that calorie burning foundation. And then on top of this, we have our NEAT. So this includes things like working, if you go for a walk after dinner, household chores, I do have it on here, fidgeting. If you're a teacher and you're up and about, or a construction worker, okay, this is your NEAT, and this counts for about 15% of your daily calories. Okay. This is a, I don't want to say a neat one because it is a neat one, because this one, if you are, let's say if you're working towards a specific goal, maybe it's weight loss, for example, you can increase this one by, adding in 60 minutes per day of walking. Not very intense, but can add up to those total calories per day and can make a big impact. So that is NEAT, 15%. Okay, so keep that in mind. Then we have our thermic effect of food. So this is our TEF. This is basically just the energy that we use as humans to consume our food. Okay, and this is about 10% of the TDEE. And it can also vary based on your diet. So we always say, oh, protein keeps you satisfied longer. We say this because protein takes more time to metabolize than, let's say, fats. Okay, so it is taking up more energy needed to digest. Okay, so sometimes, or most of the times, high protein diet can increase your TEF. And complex carbs do the same as well. Okay, they're not quick absorbing. Your body needs to break this down and use them. So it's a little bit more complicated for your digestive system. So it can increase that. So that's why one of the reasons why protein is so important in our diets. Okay, then we have our last one, which is our exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is EAT, and this only contributes to a very, very small portion, which is only approximately 5% of your total daily energy expenditure. So this is all of, you know, the calories that you burn in coming to LP. Claudia just had a question. Yes, that's correct, Claudia. Foods high in fiber are complex, basically complex carb. Those are the ones that will increase your TEF. Good question. Okay, so this is only 5%. So when people think about, you know, losing weight and need to maintaining their weight, they put so much emphasis on getting to the gym and burning so many calories at the gym, when maybe we could just increase our total energy that we burn throughout the day, you know, with movement. Okay, so I want you to think about that. If this is something, you know, if weight loss is something that you've been struggling with for a while, and you've maybe tried all sorts of things, this might be something that you can implement, is just increasing. This is the whole big, you know, step phenomenon of trying to get in maybe 15,000 steps a day or whatever to increase the daily the calories that you burn throughout the day, not via exercise. Getting a walking desk, making sure you're getting up, walking around, just doing more things in your day that are going to burn calories. Okay, so that's kind of what your total daily energy expenditure. What I wanted you to take away from it is that exercise is not the be all and end all. And if you already are exercising a lot and not seeing the results that you're looking for, maybe we can look at, you know, increasing to your protein, so that you're increasing that part, and then you can increase your walking, increase the other part. So there are other ways that we can increase our total daily expenditure beyond exercise. Okay, so something to think about as we move forward here. So, but how do we actually calculate? Okay, so like I mentioned, it can be complicated, but I did want to give everyone a baseline to start with. Okay, so we are using the Katch-McArdle equation, and this estimates our BMR, taking into consideration our lean body mass. Okay, we have a body fat percentage scale, so we have, I won't say the luxury, but we have this information available. Okay, our lean body mass, so that's what we are going to use. I like this equation because of the using the lean body mass, because muscle mass accounts for metabolic activity, you know, of our lean tissue. So instead of our other tissue that we have on top of that, so we want to, I like to use this one because it's on lean body mass, and that's where the activity lies. Okay, so I put an example of myself in here for BMR. And not to worry, you won't have to do any of these equations. I have it, which I will show you, set up in the spreadsheet ready to go for you. So it is basically 21.6 times your lean body mass in kilos. So mine is 21.6 times, I'm 52 kilos for lean body mass plus 370. Okay, so I have a BMR of 1493. Okay, so that's my BMR. But like we just talked about, that is only one portion, but that big 70%, okay, that's only that one portion at the bottom. That's my estimated. Okay, if I did nothing throughout the day, okay, it's estimating that I would burn about 1,500 calories. Okay, based on basically my lean body mass. Now we want to figure out, okay, how much energy do we expend beyond that? Okay, so we need to add in some calories for everything you do in a day on top of our BMR. Excuse me. So this is what we need, or this is what we use, sorry. This is what we use as an addition to our BMR. So I want you to think about where you lie amongst these 5 different areas. So are you sedentary? Do you do little to no exercise? Maybe you sit all day, okay? Do you exercise 1 to 3 times per week? Maybe you're in the light activity, moderate activity. You work out 3 to 5 days a week, or maybe you exercise 3 days a week, but have a job where you're getting up a lot. Okay, very active. I would say to hit very active, you would have to be working out a lot and pretty active person, and then extremely active. I would almost put this for athletes and people who are exercising 2 times a day. Like, it's very intense. Allison asks, can you define exercise example? So I would say this is exercise would be 1 hour when it says 1 to 3 days per week. This would be active exercise. So Allison, the walking the dog, that would be when we go back to our components that pull together for our TDEE. You're talking about more about our NEATs, or non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So when we're looking at, so if I were, so say Allison, you come, let's say 3 strength days per week, or maybe you hit 2 strength days and 1 other day in a light run, I would probably put someone like that in a light activity day. Someone who comes 5 days a week to LP, I would put them in moderate activity level. Okay. Think about the 1 being equal to 1 hour of exercise. There you welcome. Okay, so what I've done is taken all of this information and built it into the spreadsheet. Okay, so okay, can you guys confirm? Can you give me a thumbs up if it's switched over to the spreadsheet? Either in the chat. Okay, good. Awesome, thank you. Okay, so I've made some tweaks. I wasn't, you may see something a little bit different. I wasn't sold on what I had in there, so I made some tweaks and hopefully made it a little bit more user-friendly for the information that I want you to take away from Nutrition Week. Okay, so I've highlighted all of the areas that I need you to complete for Nutrition Week in green here. Okay, so those are the ones that you need to fill out, and then everything else will populate. Okay, so I've kind of put myself in here as the test bunny. I am going to label myself moderate activity. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna label myself very active. Okay, I'm working out. I'm a little bit in between, so I'm probably in between moderate activity to very active. Okay, I'm gonna stick with very active for now, just so we can see it, and then I'll show you guys kind of the difference. So it has already my lean body mass in there in pounds. Okay, and what I've done is I've calculated your BMR based on that formula. So if my current schedule, say I'm working out, 6 hours of exercise per week, okay, in order to maintain my current state, okay, if I did absolutely nothing, okay, all of a sudden I'm not working out, my BMR based on my lean body mass is 1500, okay? So that's if I did absolutely nothing. So what I've also auto-populated for you is the activity factor. So each of the options, sedentary, very active, has a number that I am going to multiply your BMR by. Okay, so my BMR of 1499 gets multiplied by the 1.725, and that gives me a total daily energy expenditure of 2585. Okay, and that is to maintain my current state. So if because I'll show you, if I want to maintain, so this is the other thing that you're going to select, okay, it's going to give me the same for that caloric intake, okay, and plan type here. So plan type, I have listed moderate carb, lower carb, higher carb. I want you to, this is your opportunity to sort of select what type of nutrition plan that you like. So I would say moderate carb would be, if you don't really, sort of, let's say, care about where you're at, don't really know where you're at or what you want to eat, or just want to be in a place where you're in a good place. So for me, moderate carb is what I would select. Okay, if I was in a very intense, say I became, a very extremely active, I became more of an endurance runner where I was doing a lot of endurance. Maybe I might choose the higher carb plan. The lower carb plan could be an option for anyone, who likes a little bit more of fats. Maybe their body doesn't, you don't feel as good with carbs, or if someone's working on a little bit of, insulin resistance. So there are reasons why someone might want that lower carb. So you can kind of pick where you'd like to be at. For me, moderate carb is where I like to be. Okay, so then the spreadsheet is automatically giving me my protein requirements, carbohydrate requirements, and fat requirements. Okay, so this is in grams. So based on my very active week, I want to maintain where I'm at. My goal each day is to have about 195 grams of protein, 226 grams of fat, and sorry, that would be a lot. 225 grams of carbs, and then 100 grams of fat. Okay, so let's see if I just want to show you how this kind of works. If I change my activity a little bit, so I just kind of went from a very busy HYROX season. I've decreased my exercise output a little bit. Maybe I think I'm now slated for moderate activity. I decrease this. Note, my BMR still stays the same. Why? Because my lean body mass is still the same. Okay, that does not change. But what changes is my activity factor, and then that decreases my total daily energy expenditure to 2,300. And then in turn, that changes my intake of my macronutrients. Okay. Does that make sense to everyone? Any questions on how those are populated? Reminder, you need to fill out the ones with the green. So you have your activity level you need to fill out. you need to fill out your goal, and you need to fill out your plan type. Okay. If I was moderately active and I wanted to lose some weight, I would select the cut, and this decreases my caloric intake by 500. And then I've got my macronutrients. Oh, thanks, guys. Excel used to be one of my favorite things to do. It's been a bit, but I got into it. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at. Okay, I also wanted to remind and go back to this is just an estimate, okay? So what I want, some of you, there is potential that the formula is going to go below, give you a caloric intake below 1200, okay? I don't want you to go below 1200. That's the minimum. Okay, so I'll adjust that. Maybe if we see any that go below 1200, okay? We need that for, so sometimes someone will be, maybe they're at like 1400 for their TDEE, and then they put in a cut of that they want to cut. It might bump them down. So I just want to make sure that everyone is at that minimum of 1200. Okay. What I also want you to remember is that this is just a place to start. Okay. So we have the ability to figure out whether we're in maintenance mode, in a cut mode, or in a bulk mode. How do we do that? We just continually weigh ourselves. If our body weight is maintaining, that means you're in maintenance. Okay. So these guidelines are just kind of like a great starting point if you've never tracked before, as a suggestion of where you want to be. Okay. If you feel like you're really under, I would only add in like maybe like 150 to 250 calories a day, okay, to try and build up to that number. All right, don't go sort of full on and just add in like 500 calories a day. Okay, your body needs to adjust a little bit. So if you're under, just do a little bit of it at a time. And same thing if you are over. That's why I only have that 500 calories per day for the cut. Okay, I don't want to go any less than that. All right. Okay, so the spreadsheet gives us the bottom two pieces of the triangle. Okay, it determines our caloric baseline. It also gives us our TDEE. Okay, so we know how many calories we should be eating on that bottom of that triangle. Okay, we also know what our macros should be at. Okay, or a guesstimate of it. Okay, so we've got those two ones covered. I just wanted to briefly go over the other three, just for some quick tips on this one. So if you are at that point, you can start sort of stacking the goodness on top. Okay, so the next one is the micronutrients on the hierarchy. So I want to remind you that good quality foods and a lot of variety is important. So I know it's super easy, and I've done it multiple years. I've eaten the same thing every day, and you're getting the same nutrients, the same micronutrients. So if you can, I would say try to mix it up a bit, and try and get in some lots and lots of variety. So the more diverse our food as well, the better our gut microbiome is. And that only helps with so many different things. Okay, so just a few tips on that. Try and stick to whole foods as much as we can, and lots of variety if possible. I know we have to live busy lives, so it's hard, but maybe on the weekends, maybe for dinner, sort of pick a few places within your week that maybe you can switch things up, get some different food in there. Okay, so then on top of that, we have our workout timing or timing of food. Okay, I'm going to take a step back. Timing of food. I would say for timing of food, if you want to do something for the biggest bang for your buck again, okay, it is worrying about workout timing. That is the number one thing that we should be focusing on when it comes to timing. Okay, everything else kind of is second to that. Okay, so we need to make sure when it comes to workout timing, why we do it. We want to fuel our workouts and we want to recover from it. Okay, so it's not just about fueling from your workouts. We want to recover from it. And I'm glad I have a lot of ladies on here. So men, this is also important for you, but very important from a woman perspective as well, because we actually have a shorter window to get that food in than men do. Okay, so women who are listening, okay, this is even more important for you. Important for everyone, but even more important for women. So goal of our workout timing is we want to maximize our body's ability to adapt to the exercise stress. Okay, so when we come into the gym, we're putting stress into our body. We want that fuel to be available, okay, to decrease that stress. We want to repair our muscles so that we can become stronger and adapt to that fitness and get fitter. That's the goal. Okay, if we do not eat within around our workouts, okay, we can potentially stay in a catabolic state. Okay, so this also is, we also say this is a breakdown state. Okay, we do not want to be in a breakdown state. We don't adapt, okay, and we could potentially put ourselves in a low energy state, which can potentially down regulate lots of things, including our thyroid. Okay, so we want to make sure we are fueling our body, and a good chunk of our daily calories is within that workout timing. Okay. When we look at workout timing, if you were looking at one macronutrient, one item, okay, to just start with, protein is the most important macro for timing. Okay, so that could be maybe where you start. Ladies, for example, women should be having about 150 calories before workout. Ideally, 15 grams should be protein, 30 grams of it should be carbs. Okay. And then post-workout, the research is now saying 30 to 40 grams of protein, especially in that peri-postmenopausal stage. Post-workout, so 30 to 40 grams of protein and a little carbs if you can, and that will decrease that breakdown state. Okay, so that's going to get us out of that catabolic state, give our bodies the chance to adapt, okay, decrease that stress, cortisol, and repair and become stronger. In general, when we talk about workout timing and why it's so important, does so many things. We could talk a lot about this one, but a few things that it does do, like I mentioned, it takes you out of decreases that catabolic state, and improves glucose control. I've noticed this firsthand. I've multiple times over the last few months, I've worn a glucose monitor. If I do not take in any carbohydrates before a high intensity exercise, my blood glucose levels skyrocket. Okay, because it doesn't have the support. And then if I don't take that protein, a little bit carbohydrates right after, I notice that it can stay up. So once I take that protein, it does help bring it down to a normal level. Okay, so that's another reason. And also stimulates obviously your muscle protein synthesis to repair those muscles like I talked about before. For anyone who's doing a lot of exercise, workout nutrition is crucial to reduce any LEA risk. LEA stands for low energy availability. Sometimes we're working out too hard, too much, not giving that body what it needs, and it's going to put us in that LEA, and then other body functions start to what's the right word? Those certain body functions begin to diminish and not work properly. That's what I wanted to say. And then also, just like the micronutrients, more gut microbiome support, and we can't get enough of that one. So I know I spent a little bit of time on that, but I think this one, if you are, if you've figured out your caloric intake and you've kind of hit your macros, workout timing is super important around that overall timing. So if you're ready for it, this is a great spot to work on. And then that last one on that hierarchy is the supplements. So I do find the use of supplements help with an individual's goals and busy schedules. So some big ones would be, the Pure EAA, getting in those amino acids to help with protein synthesis during workout, increase those energy levels. And I find protein to be an awesome one, getting it in, right after workout, to get in that, what I talked about before, that 30 to 40 grams of protein, to make it super simple. Get that in, and then you still have your meal afterwards. So those are the kind of two that I would say, at minimum, this is what you should be having, and then kind of everything after that is based on goals, blood work, maybe some things that Jen will talk about next week. Okay, so those are all of the areas. Like I mentioned, start at the bottom of that triangle. And once you've mastered each position, then you can build up. And don't forget, consistency across all of them is the most important. Okay. So last thing, I know I'm taking a bit of time here today, is I asked you guys to do some tracking for this week. So what I want you to do, your first step here is, yes, this is not a body composition challenge. Okay, so I don't want you to, or you don't need to, dive in yet, or just focus on nutrition. But I do want you guys to have kind of one clear thing to take away from this week. So that's why I want you to track what you are currently doing. It's always eye-opening to see where you are at, and then compare it to what I have listed here. Okay, so I want to give you a quick example. Someone has submitted their tracker to me. Okay, so this person, if I have found them on this spreadsheet. So the spreadsheet I inputted there, they were working out 4 times a week. I'm putting them in there as moderate activity. Okay, and I just use the goal of maintenance for them, just to give us, I don't think she is looking to lose weight, so I'm just putting in maintenance there. Her BMR was 1491, and then this activity gave her about 1,500 calories, and then that broke into 115 grams of protein, 130 grams of carbs, and 58 grams of fat. So if we go back to her submission, she was around that caloric intake, so just a little bit, just a little bit above. And she was slightly below protein and slightly above carbs. So I would say, when we're looking at this person's tracker, I think they're doing really great. They are pretty spot on for their caloric intake. So if I were to ask this person if they're maintaining their current weight, I would, my guess is they're going to say yes. Um, and they're, you know, they're pretty close to their macronutrients. My recommendation for them is they're just a bit shy on protein. So if I gave them a goal for the remainder of the year, it would be to add in one more serving of protein and kind of swap that for their carbohydrates. So there's a few things probably that she could take out in terms of carbohydrates and then adding in that extra protein. Okay, so my goal is hopefully to help you guys. We have a lot of challengers, but I want you to, from this presentation, take a look at what you've tracked this week. What is your average caloric intake? Are you there? Okay, if you're not there, maybe that's your first step. If you're there, what do your macronutrients look like? And then adjusting accordingly and so on. So using that hierarchy and trying to set, you know, a goal for yourself within that hierarchy of what you can do for, you know, the rest of the year as something fun to work on. Okay, that was everything I had. I know that was a lot. So if you have some questions or want to chat, feel free. We've got maybe 10 minutes on the clock here.
Hi, Michelle. I have a question.
Yes.
As we're talking about macronutrients, could you comment on different kinds of fat and considerations when you're planning your menu?
Yes. So actually, I have a really good. You know what I can do? I have a really good sort of cheat sheet that has some good options for all of them. Why don't I throw that in the, actually, maybe I'll throw that in the challenge chat. But some good ones for fat, like just off the top of my head, but I don't want to miss any good ones. You've got avocado is always a great one. Always a great one to start with, and to add, you have all of your nuts and your seeds, and your oils. So those are kind of some of the areas. But I can give you what I'll do, Alison. I'll put it in our nutrition. Let me write that down so I don't forget. I'll put it in our Facebook chat.
I actually can't find the Facebook chat. I think I'll ask somebody to help me find it someday.
Oh, you're not in our chat. You don't get to hear all the fun stuff.
Maybe next time I'm in,
Okay.
I'll coach to show me or something.
So I will, okay, I'll put it in our email for this week. The follow-up stuff.
That would be great. Thank you.
Fat, protein, and carbs, some high quality options. Love it. Okay, Claudia had a question. Okay, Claudia. So nutrition around workouts impact weight loss goals as well. The part of your presentation was really eye-opening. Yes, it would. So many different reasons. So the glucose one is one of them. The more our glucose numbers are out of whack, and if we don't bring those down to normal levels, the harder it is for weight loss. And then like I talked about, the low energy state and the catabolic state, if we stay in that breakdown state, the body is going to think that it's always, you know, going to be there, and then it's not doing the things that we want to do. So it will also impact weight loss goals. So yes, Claudia, maybe this is your takeaway, maybe today, that you could potentially work on.
Michelle, can I
Uh,
ask as well? You gave us numbers, like how many grams of protein
yeah.
before and after. Like, can you put that in your message as well? I found
Oh
that
yeah,
like
Janice, I
really
think just asked that too.
awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
150 calories. Yes, I can. 100, Janice is right on. I said 150 calories before, so it's nothing crazy. 15 grams of protein and 30 grams of carbs. Yep, Janice, that's right. And for post, no, 30 to 40 grams of protein and just a little bit of carbs. The one after Janice is, okay, I'll write it down. You know what? We should maybe have our own in our aging women group, have our next chat on. I've been learning so much about this. Sorry, I'm just writing.
I have another question when you're ready, Michelle.
Yep, you can, while I'm writing, you can ask. I think I can
Okay, I
ask
was just
that.
curious about fluctuations. Like sometimes I'm going to eat
Yes.
more, some days I'm going to eat less, some days I'm going to exercise more, some days I'm going to exercise less. So I guess we're just looking for an average over time.
Yeah, exactly. So you can do a few things. So you can multiply, your daily caloric intake by the week, and kind of make sure you're sticking within that range for the week. I do find it, I want to say, oh, this is what you should be doing for workout days, and this is what you should be doing for non-workout days. But I find sometimes that's a little bit challenging because weekends seem to throw a little bit of a damper into that. We're a little bit more flexible, and more of the, when we talk about the 80-20 rule, more of the 20s happening on the weekend. So I think when it comes to energy balance, I don't want to take too much away from that weekend when we're looking at a long-term plan. So I think it's important to look at overall caloric intake throughout the week, and not just on those days that maybe we're thinking about counting, because those weekend calories do add up. But if we're looking at workout day versus non-workout day, when I put this in the chat, so let me just make sure I didn't miss anything. 150 to 450, 30, carbs after. Okay, so we also have, what is this, 35 times 4 plus, yeah, say we're about like 150 calories before, and maybe we're a little bit more. Say we're 200 after. So that's like 350 calories. And maybe for people, it's like 350 to 4, even let's say 500 cals. If we talk about 350 being your workout calories, so what I would do is, if, okay, mine, woo. Okay, so my goal was 23, 24 for overall calories. So I would take that out of my, let's say I'm 2,300. I'm gonna take out 350. So I'm at about 2,000 calories for the rest of the day. And I would just probably divide that by 4. And then, let's say I have 450, maybe a bit more calories for each meal. Then what I would do is I would have those same meals throughout the day on non-workout days, and then just not have my those workout calories. if that makes sense.
Okay, I think I get the idea. Is kind of like divide up your calories throughout the day.
Yes, the calories that are left can be divided out throughout the day, or whoever, you know, the person likes to eat. We have some people that like different eating windows and whatnot. So I would divide the rest of your calories within the day. And then if you aren't working out, basically you're probably taking out those 450 calories or 350 calories from that day.
Okay, interesting. And I was going to ask where Halloween candy fits into all of this, but I think you kind of answered that. You just average it
Well,
through the week, right?
we've got some Halloween one of this on this person's submission. So we've got it in there. But we did see, so this person was probably potentially short on protein, which she more likely was feeling like she needed those snacks because she wasn't as full. So maybe that's why she had the, or maybe she's trying to steal it from her kids so they didn't have it. But Halloween candy, that fits into that 20%. So as long as it's not 50% of the time, now I assume that you can. And it all depends on your goals, right? If you're maintaining, if you're within, you know, your numbers, then that's all good.
Awesome. Thanks, Michelle.
You're welcome. Janice, any questions about any of those numbers? Are good to go?
Nope, that was good. You answered it.
Yeah, so Janice, you're spot on with the first two of the hierarchy for sure, especially after the challenge. So it'd be interesting to see, you know, where are you in terms of micronutrients and sort of hitting that workout timing, making sure we're keeping those strength gains up over, you know, over time here as you get older. And yeah, so yeah, that makes sense. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for joining me and thanks for the awesome questions. I will send Allison along some of the fat, protein, carb ideas. And we need to get you in the Facebook group. Okay, so don't forget, make sure you fill out these green spots here. Okay, activity level, goal, and plan type. And send me your tracking for the week and you're all set. Have a great rest of your week, guys. And blood panels are up next week, which is an awesome topic, one of my favorites. So let's keep trekking along this Fit Life Challenge. Thanks, guys. We'll chat later.